Oh no. With that said, it's very rare that we see drafts this polarizing in professional play. One, a clearly dive comp, in your face, front to front. The other, a clear, almost back-to-back, you can say, because they want to play with all of the range. And with that said, it looks like the crowd favors Blacklist, given their, again, chip on their shoulder, man. You got swept by the world champions yesterday. You want to come back strong. So we are now going to go into the land of Don Francis. Carl, I understand that this is high stakes, so how about we get into it?
I can't breathe, man. Woo! I just can't breathe right now. Let's go in it. Game number 1, Blacklist versus RSG. And here we will find out if this is going to work out. Have you seen Renegade on the Navarre yet? I know you're the Renegade fan.
Okay, I'll be honest, it's not the first time he'll be playing this, all right? I can say that much. But knowing the young man's skill set, I'm not so sure this is the right call. But if they win, hey, you got away with it.
Yeah, we know Renegade is one of the action jacks, as we call it in MPL. Phillips with the Oheb and Eman though.
Whoa! Woo! Sheesh! Wow. Oh, Eman showing us a new side of him this early on, a minute in, obliging Oheb. And now Oheb using that regen very smart. I wonder, are they going to force something here? Because this is a huge presence from Blacklist down bot.
Yes, speaking of force and pressure, this is the idea of Blacklist International right now. They have, folks, they have the Mpl-Ph hold.
Sensui here, putting himself in a great position, but Light already spending that flicker. No dice, still 0 kills at a minute and a half.
Okay, no surprise, flicker combo from Light from this Edith, but going to the emblems right now that Blacklist International is rocking. We have Mpl-Ph as well as we have Quantum Charge. This is agility, and also you have sustain. So this is the way that we're seeing that they have the ways to initiate the back line of RSG. At the same time, they have movement speed, but at the same time, they have so much dive right now for Irad that they can actually utilize. But for the side of RSG, we're looking at the same quantum charges and also poke for this XP laner for Nats. We are seeing this most of the favored emblem for this kinds of burst heroes such as the X-Borg. Also for Mpl-Ph, it's an interesting take on how would he capitalize his burst as hitting level 4 and level 6.
Right now we are going to be slowly watching as Blacklist are getting a foothold of this turtle. Of course, not going to be left out here by RSG.
Yep.
Nats seems to be very, very ready to go for the fight.
There's the penalty zone, but not to Irad. He doesn't mind. Now Light very low, uses the Primal Wrath, and we're still going. Bonk! Aqua gets out of there. Down goes Edward. That's another casualty, 1 for 1 as per side, but RSG comes out on top with a slight lead, 1,000 ahead, and that turtle in tow.
Yeah, that is the sustain of Blacklist International. Having the vision, having the brave smite, and also the body of Smith. Edward utilized more of the passive as well as the flicker ult combo, and having that astral echo used right at the moment that RSG was in the position, that was completely Renegade activating more of the hits that their skill set can do with all of heroes present. But clearly RSG is trying to amp up their early game because as of this point, they're growing their damage with Eman.
Yeah, we're going to see Oheb definitely have a harder time here, despite Renegade obviously trying very, very hard to keep him in check. Now, Eman and Light, very, very aggressive combo here, especially with Light on this Edith. Like you mentioned though, with Sex, who seem to be very active and very ready to take these fights as long as the Earth Shatter and Onward combo is active happening right now.
Speaking of which, there we go. The Gush gonna be able to keep Sensui alive, but no! Irad takes him down, and with that, RSG get another big victory in mid. Call it just 1 kill, but no, that's a jungler right in the mid game, and now Eman coming in. He still has a BMI out. Just playing footsies with Oheb and Renegade.
Well, that is just Light using the surprise mostly on the bushes in the mid lane. We're looking at Irad now being so slippery in the backline of Blacklist International. That's the thing. They might want to capitalize on one defensive item because as of this time that Irad has now the Hunter Strike, we're looking at the standard, slowly building up the standard items for Hayabusa, but this amps more of the passive of the damage that Hayabusa can do.
Yep, after each basic attack, you get more movement speed. That makes your shadows all the more dangerous, given the mobility. Light coming in forward. And you know what? I gotta say, under 5 minutes, I was expecting this Novaria on Renegade to be, how do I say, less than ideal, but it's doing its job. So yeah, that is a pleasant surprise for me. Now, RSG with the pull, gonna get this turtle reset. No dice.
All right.
It looks like
No dice.
timing is going to be on Blacklist side. They're able to delay.
In fairness, I mean, every second that Blacklist will buy is going to help so much in their favor. Gotta wait for, of course, OHEB to get to that free shot or two-shot moment here for this hero. Of course, oh my goodness. I don't know why RSG didn't take that. Maybe a little bit tad too cautious.
Yep, this is something I noticed over the past day of broadcast already. We're a day into week 1. It looks like RSG's not too shy to give up things that aren't on the to-do list as per the fundamentals. Don't you agree, Francis?
Yeah, I agree. Because at some point, they completely had a way to disengage Blacklist International strength on those kinds of team fights. They know they had the damage, but mostly it would rely on Irad. Because Ammon right now is not yet activated, and mostly of the pokes, they could rely on Aqua. But they don't want to, again, use that sacrifice at this early point in time.
Oh,
There it is!
here comes Light, catches a face full of Mystic Gush, taken down by the MVP machine. And there's an Astral Echo to make sure RSG don't push on forward. Blacklist blows back.
Not even with the retry. It's just with pure game sense that Sensui was able to take one out under a tower, by the way, alongside his teammates. Very good coordination from Blacklist.
Well, speaking of coordination, having Renegade set up the fights with the Astral Recall and Echo again is an activated attack for Blacklist International. To think that Edward just prioritized more on the blade armor, he wanted that attribute of having a crit damage reduction, because knowing that there's so much damage that they can actually get from Irad and also from Eman, he can actually be the front line here. So sometimes if you're at Rizal, you have to actually go for the Bloodlust Axe or even for the Dominance Ice, but now he's on a defensive move to be on the front line of Blacklist International, which is doing good.
Yeah, frontline Blacklist right now. Again, their main course is to just buy time, but they're doing a good job as well as poking down RSG, which is so crucial for them. If RSG fights with the full HP lineup, I think they are bound to lose. But right now, they are doing their very best. At least keep Aqua below half, keep Nats in check as well, so he doesn't go with a full-fledged Firaga armor explosion. And now we are going to see another turtle take here. Let's see what they've got to show.
Talking about an explosion, Nats gets his life cut.
Whoa!
Warrior, what happened? Whoa! Eman is down. Sensui gets the turtle. It seems to all be crumbling for the Raiders. And now Nats gets caught out. This turret down. Tier 1 and forward. Point blank. The Filipino sniper is in the building.
Haji on the Mystic Gush with the flicker. Distance is not a problem. Emma just fall down. He just got his golden staff, but that was not even a problem. That was just Renegade taking the kill. And Blacklist clearly winning that objective, and also the lead slowly growing on to this team alone. And RSG is now looking for ways to come back with the damage that they got from Blacklist International.
This is quite the turnaround. Again, 8 minutes in, Blacklist approaching 1.5, almost 2K gold lead. Aqua in trouble. It's knocked out by Sensui. Nats, the enforcer, pushing them back. I gotta say, Blacklist has gotten away with it. Now that we're ramping up into the mid-game, this is as good as it gets for a lineup that has Renegade on a Novaria.
Oh. Well, let's count that in the hero pool of Renegade starting today, and this is not a problem. Oh, meanwhile, well, he pokes in the mid.
All right. Whew.
Okay.
Oh, man.
This
Is this the first time the Blacklist had the lead all throughout this game? It took them a while, but they're getting there. They're getting that gold lead, and they're getting the pressure that they want, especially on top side. Although, of course, RSG will not take this lying down.
Yep. Light and Aqua to the rescue. I think RSG, the Raiders, are onto them. Blacklist, they've been beaten down on Eman. Eman has had one of the hardest early games that he's had in the calendar year of 2023. So with that said, it seems like Blacklist, their shenanigans are about to come to an end. I'm looking at this gold lead to stay this close and this tight as we lead into this first Lord.
So on the other hand, of course, RSG, they also have that walk in the wind condition they have on Eman, who's not even rocking the Ixchel right now. I think with this Claude, he means business. That's a scary thing for RSG. Although I think Blacklist, they're handling it quite well, OSX, right?
Well, speaking of handling out the damage, yeah, it's the prime target of Blacklist to take down the winning condition, as you said, for RSG. So one thing they have now to capitalize on is the ultimate of Nats and also Irad. Mostly Aqua is looking for ways to capitalize more on his ultimate, but that is just 3 main damage dealers for RSG. But Nats look at almost half, almost depleting his Viraga arm, but Sensui trying to poke in light as well. But meanwhile, down bottom, we have a push from Emma.
All right, they're just making the most of the absence here. This is 4v5. Coming in. It lies very low. They survive. Last Insanity coming in. Throwing out everything but the kitchen sink. And Aqua falls. Nat follows through as Eman cuts in deep. That's a double kill for Legend Zero.
Can I just highlight? Man, Oheb flickering back, Haji flickering in. Tag team made in heaven here for Blacklist International. They will get that Lord, but of course Eman is doing work on that bottom lane as well. So it's not it's not a play without a consequence here for Blacklist.
Yeah, it doesn't come for free, but it's a bargain. Can I just say, it's a bargain. I appreciate what this is the last we're going to see of Light, at least for a few seconds, as Oheb scores another.
Okay, Black capitalizing more on those opportunities when RSG is just all over the place. Yes, that was the gambit we're aiming for Eman. Having now the corrosion side, this is more likely building on the damage part that they can do as their winning condition. But one thing that they're also hungry for is the objectives. That meanwhile is just slowly being taken by Blacklist International.
Here we go. Last Insanity out just to survive. An Astral Echo to keep a beat on him. Blacklist making the call, yeah.
Oh, there it is.
This is a free push. Let's go ahead. Mid, top, even bottom. Dear Lord. They had Lord working for him too.
It's an indirect effect, Leo, but Renegade, the hitman, he's making sure that RSG is just not ready to take these fights. And because of that, Blacklist are winning at every turn.
Yep, Vision is his middle name. Renegade, Vision, Bakarse, ladies and gentlemen. And that's what he's bought for this young squad. Blacklist International making moves on the map. I could have sworn with just your peel as a Terizla and a Fredrin, this is as greedy as it gets, and I'm loving it. I'm here for it. 7-2, about 4,000 gold ahead. This is amazing. What a bounce back from day one.
Oh yeah, this is just clearly a good recovery from Blacklist International. And to think that the damage right now of Haji utilizing mostly almost that Flicker and Mystic Gush combo, now with an amplified glowing wand, scorched damage will pierce through RSG. So with the defense department right now that is seeing from the Raiders, it was just on screen, right on time. We're looking at Radiant Armor and as well Dominance Ice, and just right now, Light just got his Athena Shield.
Here we go! Irad finally shutting down Haji. Their first kill in quite a while.
Oh man, and Irad, he had to really work for that, right? He really had to do his best to get in a position where he could do that. And now, is it enough though to stop our Blacklist right now? We seem to be just nigh unstoppable.
Yeah, and to look at the damage department of Blacklist International right now, we're looking at Leslie. Also, we're looking at Oheb as well to build. We have the Berserker's Fury, we have the BOD, and also we have the Azure Blade building up to his final items for this Leslie. One of the contributes early game was the Vision, but the damage right now, him being on the lead for Blacklist International, is a secure way to just completely maintain this lead. Almost 3K. But one thing that we're also seeing here is the burst and poke of Haji and also Edward, which is deadly on how RSG would actually sustain this kinds of lore dances. But at this point, they will need to see the possible angles on how Blacklist would actually enter.
Now, here we go. And this Lord Dance is so critical right now that everyone is...
Oh, Renegade!
Renegade, though, Irad has had enough.
Yes,
Oh
that is karmic justice. You don't play a Novaria against a dive lineup like this and not get it coming. Now, it's a 4v5. Lord already started up, approaching the halfway point. It's just Sensui, isolated away from his teammates. Nats run line between them. They're just waiting for them to oblige. A flicker in, pop in the Faraga armor. Here comes Light. Primal Wrath coming in. Penalty zone and the gush. Eman falls. Who's gonna take the Lord? And Light falls. Sensui Instinct scores. Ladies and gentlemen, Blacklist are crossing the river. It's just Irad left. Aqua way too far. And just like that, Blacklist taking it slow, forcing out. A shadow kill. Can Irad survive? No, the answer is not. The Filipino sniper takes down the shinobi, and Aqua is all that's left.
Ira, they have to say he tried so hard. He tried so hard to make a dent to the offensive the Blacklist is going to do right now, which might be just very difficult to stop. Right now. Oh my god, are they going to run it down?
Here we go, just one siege minion taken care of, but just like that, they're gonna go back on the offensive, sieging up top. They got this last inhibitor, this one turret left in the top lane, and now the Lord throwing out the Astral Echoes. They got beads on everybody, hitboxes amplified, Lord shrunken down to pieces, and RSG. Successful defense.
This is just purely the sustain and defense of the nature of Blacklist International's lineup. If you look back, look at that. We are now looking at Immortality onto Sensui and also Divine Glaive onto this Gord, Haji. Right now, every hit, every projectile, even gush that RSG could even take is actually a depleting defense from their end. Because we're looking at Arena Armor, even if the issue, but from just coming from 2 members, they need to have a good defense right now, even from their base, and even from the 3 members of Blacklist International.
Wait.
Ira.
Taking him out, and as if that wasn't enough, an astral recall into a meteor, and the Hitman finds its mark.
There's just too much, Leo. There's just too much that RSG has to deal with all the way from downtown.
That's 3 projectiles coming at you. There's only so much left in the
look
Matrix.
at that.
And now Aqua cut down the size, down to an 1/8 of his health. This is a 5v4 situation, and they're doing their damnedest to protect this inhibitor. And it looks like Blacklist has had enough. No more.
Oh no, they're now pushed to their own base. RSG, by the presence of Renegade alone, activates more of Blacklist International to even poke members of RSG. Right now in the defense department of RSG needs to even be a strong factor for how to defend even Blacklist International's lineup. Because of this point, we're looking at Claude now has the Rose Gold meter. He needs to have that extra defense because most likely he is, again, the winning condition that we were talking about early on for the damage of RSG. That's why right now we're looking at the cameras that he's trying to make a way to push some of the minions and the waves, but they need also to be careful on where are they coming from. The positioning of RSG right now could be so crucial because at any point in time, once Renegade opens up his ultimate, they can actually reveal mostly of RSG's position on where they're heading at. Because right now there's so much hungry for clears, even for the objectives. Even by this Lord, we really want to contest this.
It's so counterintuitive. Renegade being known as one of the best tank roamers player out there. Being so good at the Navaria right now. Who is just poking the heck out of RSG right now, which is definitely giving them so many troubles in this game. Now coming to this next Lord fight, what's RSG's game plan here?
I guess they're looking to make a play for that top lane, tier 2, and Nat pulls the trigger on the Faraga armor, knowing that the Lord got reset. So yeah, Edward playing man-to-man defense on that, and Nat feels the full wrath of that Astral Meteor, and just like that, RSG are spaced out of this Lord, which, good news, bad news. Bad news is Blacklist got it. Good news, though, for the agents is it's all theirs. So all the more, 0 Lords for the Raiders.
Yeah, with that, also they got a free flow from up top. Also, M1 was trying to do the work on a 0-2-0 KDA. He's now making, again, a chance for getting his items in. He has the Malefic Roar now in his probably 4th slot because they need more extra penetration because of the distance that the Blacklist International is making. Yes, they have a ways to even burst everything down, but one thing they need to do here is to outlast that damage. Having the immortality present, having the space that actually Irad can make, could make a big difference to initiate the fight from RSG. But how can they defend even by this just their base alone? And there's a Lord push.
Here we see Sensui very low. In comes the Faraga armor, blasted out. Last Insanity. Sensui's immortality popped, and they're still here. Immortality's out. Eman taken down. The Lord swinging away at the base. Light, primal, wrath, not gonna keep him alive. Ladies and gentlemen, we are but seconds away from possibly the end. Just like that, Blacklist International get their first win in Season 12. Game 1 goes to Black.
This winning moment brought to you by our official sponsor, FWD Life Insurance. now you just heard, I don't know if you heard it through our mics, crowd just literally erupted here.
Gone wild.
Going wild and berserk here for the first victory of Blacklist International in quite a while, by the way. So, and all of that, dare say, on the back of the young Renegade.
Novaria, count that hero in. Who says I can just do Masha Kufer? No, he's changing his hybrid, and with this, a new thing is being unlocked for the Blacklist International's code, even for their compositions. Comparing from the performance of even from Haji and Edward from yesterday, this is a completely different reason they made from last night's sleep.
I mean, maybe all they needed was sleep. I don't know. That looked really good, and they made a multi-threat lineup. By the way, huge, beautiful draft there from Master the Basics. Of course, all of that just melded in a very well drafted composition. Aside from obviously a caster on the talent room just shouting at the top of his lungs for sure.
Oh no.
100% win rate, Gord, bro.
Say what you will about the sample size, but 100% is 100%.
Perfect.
Oh, man.
Somebody's buying a cake again today. He bought yesterday, and he's gonna buy a cake again today for us.
That's right. You know what you have to buy as well? The weekly diamond box, man. I've been getting so much. I've been getting so much rewards just buying that. I've saved so much money just getting diamonds there, and all you gotta do is just log in and log in and log in all within 1 week. A beautiful, beautiful pack.
It comes in something called Layla Savings Box, and automatically that'll save those rewards for you. Besides, the item rewards are worth over 280 diamonds. They're all waiting for you in there.
That offer is just too good to miss, and just unlock the pass and enjoy the benefits now by even watching us on stream. You can do two things at the same time, by the way.
255% diamond. Whew, thank you so much for the basically, essentially like triple, quadruple diamond.
Personally, I'm saving up for the next M5 pass. I don't wanna, miss that part.
I'm so proud of that, by the way.
Yeah.
He wants that statue. He wants that M5 statue.
Whatever comes, I'm gonna get that. The figurine for M5.
Oh my gosh. OSX, we will root for you, and we will give you as much diamonds as we can afford.
I'm gonna get that rebate.
And start doing that right now. We got a few months. And of course, we have to go back to that game. What a slobber knocker of a game still. Irad, man. Irad in that game, he tried his best. I could tell. His effort to go in the back line, just try to whittle down, try to hunt down this Navaria, try to hunt down this Leslie. It was so difficult. He was doing the job, but he was always just a tad, an inch away from victory.
And it's those inches that added to them being so far away from a situation that they're comfortable with. And it's at that point, I'm not sure if the Pandamentals covered that jurisdiction.
I mean, slice it away, OSX. What's Pandamentals on that one?
Well, speaking of fundamentals, it's Blacklist International completely having a great recovery from the puzzle that we're trying to fix and figure out yesterday. Yes, Blacklist International completely getting a hand on this game. From that point, we've seen the difference. We've seen the change from the XP laner, from the Roman, and even from mid. The MV3, if we're talking about from the introduction of Mpl Season 12, actually get a good view on what they're trying to go to. So with this thing being said, we're looking at the points that actually was recovered from Blacklist International start yesterday, going up against Echo, the world champs. Now, if we look at the data from this game, there was a lot of struggle, there was a lot of change, but one thing that we tried to see is how they even amped the early game from Blacklist International. But before we get into that, there was so much to think of, but we need to acknowledge the presence of this MVP, Oheb, Kiel1 of Blacklist International, having and rocking this Leslie. From early on, he wanted to decide he wants to have that extra movement speed. He wants that extra, again, power spike, the critical chance for this Leslie. Early on, they're capitalizing on the ultimate of this Leslie. Since we're looking at the draft of Blacklist Internationals, so much to offer on vision, range, and even the gap that they want to do in team fights, there were so much for them to utilize from having a great momentum from early game. And to go back on the highlights, this is the KDA of OHEB of 5-0-7. This is completely the first turtle of the game where they actually had the good setup coming from Renny J's ultimate. From this point in time, they were trying to capitalize more on the CCs and they're trying to build up also the damage. And from then on, from 2 minutes to also 6 minutes, this is just Haji, the KDA machine himself, rocking this gourd, having to utilize the burst by the flicker and the mystic gush. Look at that, all Nats melting him down, forcing him back to the base. But the last hit from OHEB, this is completely synergy, completely built up to work around the distance and the gap that RSG is trying to disengage in most of the team fights that they're trying to get from Blacklist International. It was a complete snowball onto the objectives and onto their hero picks. But at this point, Sensui was targeting more of the isolated members of RSG that gave them so much weight to build on their items from that moment on. 14 minutes. Edward having the priority on the blade armor first. We usually see the Bloodlust Axe come first for the Terizla. But one thing that we're looking at this mindset is we wanted to sustain most of the team fights that RSG has. But in this is just a mid to late game winning condition of RSG that he's so wary of, because if in some cases we see an aggressive Terizla with a lot of spell up, with a lot of damage burst, and that was just the thing. He wanted to have a great defense, and he wanted to also act as a setup for his team. The Novaria itself is a great way it's a great utilization of a hero for vision as well as hitboxes. But one thing also that was missing from Blacklist International was the setups. How will you get the setups if you are relying on Renny J and even and Haji? So one thing they wanted to use with this kind of lineup is Edward being so tanky at first and having the extra damage reduction in the last part. As we look on the richest member of Blacklist International, that is OHEB. No deaths. That's the Berserker's Fury and the double BOD. Wow. My goodness. The damage of this Leslie alone, counting it with Vision, that is a 14-4 for RSG. And that was just answering so much defensive items of RSG here. Because from that point, they had Divine Glaive for Haji. They also had Necklace of the Runs for Renny J. They know that their only two members has extra radiant armor and burst damage defense, and they wanted to stretch that hole, and they just wanted to keep bursting mostly on the defense of RSG. By just looking at the emblems on our screens, there was a lot of poke, there was a lot of sustain. Even the Festival of Blood was present for Edward, and he don't want to miss that spell fab sustain. And by just looking at the stats on our screen here, even from the monster goal, even from damage of the turrets, it's leaning towards RSG's stronghold and damage early game. We're looking at 86% participation of OHEB and as well as Haji. The presence of this gourd alone is amping up his winning rate of 100% as of this day. No wonder he keeps on getting banned from yesterday and most of the slots of from the match of 2 and 3 yesterday. So now, on the side of RSG, they were lacking the damage. They were relying on Ammon alone. Nats was also present, but on the point that they wanted to have extra defense once Nats initiated, there was so much, again, defense. There was so much way to soak up the damage of Blacklist International a bit from early game, because we were seeing OHEB here being the rich guy and being the ace, and we have a good wingman here for Sensui. So not just he assisted for the objectives, he mostly gets a way of escaping the catch of Irad is doing. Yes, early game, so slippery, he was full of damage, but that person alone can't do much heading into the late game. They need also to activate themselves in order to make the team fight work, because once Blacklist International engages and starts a team fight, how will you even sustain that? So that was one thing that we were trying to see heading on to the late game, but it was a bit of a struggle from then on. They were lacking the damage. That Necklace of the Ron's pickup by Renny J, the Novaria, depleted so much magic defense. Renny J on this Novaria. Whew. Looks like we're looking at a different face of the roamers right now, but not just looking at the setups, bouncing balls or whatever, Franco hooks and stuff. It's more of the utilization of this toolkit alone. So that is just my analysis on game number 1. Let's right back to our gentlemen here on the desk. We have Leo and Rockhart having a great time in the game number 1 of Blacklist International. Wow, taking game number 1 against RSG Philippines.
Don't mind me. It's nostalgia. It's like the nostalgia event right now happening in Mobile Legends.